Welcome back to gorgeous Samoritz. There, high on the mountains on the other side of the valley, is the Moritz-Celerina. You can only get there by the funicular railway that leads all the way up to it. Down in the valley is the town of Celerina, and up on the hillside where the cameras and the TV truck are based is the town of Samoritz. It is race 7 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. 6 different winners this season. One of them, Kim Marmans, lies in the bronze medal position after the first of our 2 heats on this fabulous natural track. The Belgian just 0.06 of a second off the lead. In the silver medal position, Nicole Silveira of Brazil. She's 0.05 of a second off the lead, and if she can somehow overcome Janine Flock, our first heat leader, not only will it be a first ever win for Brazil in women's skeleton, or indeed men's skeleton, but it would be a first win for her as well. And it would continue with our different winners in every race. But if Marmans or first heat leader Janine Flock takes the gold medal, then they will be a 2-time winner. And a different winner at every race of this season will cease to be a thing. Well, Janine Flock, winner last time out, her 40th World Cup medal, leads a tightly packed top 3. But beyond that, yawning chasm to Tabby Sturcker, who, if she somehow claimed gold, would be a new winner as well. She's just ahead of Kimberly Boss, Jackie Pfeiffer, Kelly Curtis, Jane Charles. Massive mix of athletes and nations in our top 25 sleds. Outside the top 25, from Data Zunta on down, the remaining 14 athletes do not get a second heat here. So 39 starters cut to 25. Janine Flock on the left. You just saw Jacka Pfeiffer on the right-hand side of the shot. They're warming up in the garage. It's an underground garage just above the Dracula Start Lodge. And the early starters in the first heat definitely suffered a little bit in terms of the ice conditions, but the track is warm and fast. Kimberly Boss, last year's winner on the track. She's quite a long way out of range at the moment. In 5th position, just 100th behind Tabby Sturcker, but 3900ths off the lead, 3/10 out of the medals. Valentina Margalio further down still. Silver medalist last year, 8900ths back. So our 25 second heat sliders start with Anja Unterscheider from Austria. Grace Defoe, the 39th and last starter in the first heat, got into the field. She's in 24th. And we go on down from last year's bronze medalist, Katie Uhlender, in 23rd, to last week's winner, Janine Flock of Austria. Janine, a winner here 3 times before. She won in 2014-15, she won the European Championships in 15-16, and she won as well in 2018. Race 7, IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup in fabulous Samoritz in Switzerland. Anja Unterscheider gets us underway for the second heat. A youth Olympian here in 2020. She finished 9th in the Youth Olympic Games. Her first World Cup race of the season, and she made it into the second heat. 5:56 first start, 5:52 in the second. And the start area, like the rest of the track, will gradually speed up through the course of the day. Loses the overnight frost. Nice smooth lines down into Nash and Dixon. Little skid out of Dixon. She's on the wrong side into Horseshoe. Excuse my croaky voice. Through Telephone and Shamrock. Devil's Dyke. And then through Nameless into the fast 4 right-handers. Tree, Bridge, where the railway goes over the top, Leap, and then the Gunter Sachs curve that leads you onto the straight down to Martineau, and the final corner, Portago. Across the finish line, 1:11.15. She had 1:10.86 in the first heat. From that, Do we deduce that the track is slowing down, or was that just not quite such a controlled run from Anja Unterscheider? Did she just maybe let the sled have its head a fraction more? Long skid out of Nash and Dixon to Horseshoe and a tap. All of this taking speed out of the sled. Well, she's in the top 25, so she made the second heat. Next up, excuse me, Canada's Grace Defoe. Again, last of our starters. Made her debut here last season, finished 25th. That remains her World Cup best. She made the cut for the second time in her career in World Cup start number 8. And she was 24th. So if she holds her place, it will be a World Cup best result. And her 2 best results in the World Cup, her only 2 qualifications for the second heat, will have come here in St. Moritz. In the green, and that means she is our leader. 900s up, 1600s quicker at the start than Anja Unterscheider. Correcting the line all the way down from Dixon into Horseshoe, 700s in front, slightly better speed, 61.7 miles an hour. Head first, chin on the ice. 111.7, that's 69.4 miles an hour. Really starting to build speed here through these fast 4 right-handers. Down at the bottom, 132 kilometers an hour, 82 miles an hour into Martineau. Uphill out of Portago to the finish line, 111.10. Well, she did a 110.67 in the first heat as well, but she leads by 2400ths. Grace Defoe of Canada, a World Cup best. And that is what it's all about. It is about exceeding what you have previously achieved. Last year, 25th here. This year, 24th at least. Out of Nash and Dixon, she got a late flop out of Dixon, meandered across onto the wrong side for Horseshoe. Look at the way she's eyeing up the exit she wants out of Telephone.
Hi everyone at home. Hi Mom. Hi Brendan. Love you.
So the 31-year-old Canadian makes the cut. Now, Katie Uhlaender, bronze medalist on this track last year. A winner here back in 2008. 5:49. Well, she starts 600s quicker than her first start. So she has a 1400s advantage over Grace Defoe. Katie not finding the pace on the ice this year that she did last. Last year was her second bronze medal on the track. She's not had a silver, but she has been a race winner here before. Through Horseshoe, big high line, that's exactly what you want, really fire the sled down into Telephone. 100.7, 62.6 miles an hour, full mile an hour quicker than Grace Defoe. 112.7, 70.08. Building the speed now, 7,600s up. 135, 83.9 miles an hour for Katie Uhlaender. And across the line, 110.08. Half a second quicker. There's Zach Lund, her coach. I don't mean Zach Lund, do I? That's not Zach Lund at all, Martin, you idiot. Right, Matt Antoine's name escaped me for the moment. Matt Antoine is the coach. Look at the high line there. Ignore the bus. It's doing its thing. And look at Katie, head buried. Is she looking? She is not. She knows that that line was good. Little flop off Telephone into Shamrock, but we'll take those. Half a second quicker. 110.08 would have left her in 9th place in the first heat. So Katie Uhlaender may be in the leader's box a while. Now, disadvantageous start draw number 1, not what you want in St. Moritz. Anna Fernstedt got it in her 60th World Cup start. And she came down with a 1:10.55, just 400s ahead of Julenda. Nice start, 5:41. She too a little quicker than her first heat. Ignore the scratching noises, that's a track worker. Nice clean run so far from Anna Fernstedt. 1600s up on Katie Julenda, so just growing that margin. Don't forget, Julenda hit some big speed down the bottom. Anna looking neat into Nash and Dixon. Coming down to Horseshoe. Come over, come over, come over. Gets the height. Nice into Telephone. Smoothly into the middle of Shamrock. Beautiful stuff onto Devil's Dyke. 2200s up. Still second best speed, but only a whisker behind Katie Julenda. We're talking 1/10 of a mile an hour. Gaps down to 2/10, 1:35.0, 83.8 at the bottom. Across the line, 1:09.91. Well, so much for my prediction of Katie Julenda hanging out in the sunshine in the leader's box for a while. She'll go off into the shadows and grab some warm clothing out of her down bag. Because as you can see from the coaches and our cameraman there, when you're in the shadows, you know it's -10. When you're in the sunshine, sun's out, guns out. It is proper t-shirt weather. This is such a strange climate. Nice lines from Anna Fernstedt. 1:09.91. That is the 4th fastest run of the day. Next up, Sarah Roderick from the USA. She's having a strong season so far. 3rd fastest start, never hurts. 5:23 first heat. 5:26 in the second. Oh dear, that does not help. Best velocity, but meandering between kink 1 and kink 2. Up to wall. 1100s over Anna, but that speed that she bled away at the start brings her right back to the slider from Czechia as she gets to Sunny. Only 300s up, skids out of Sunny, down into Nash, wrong side in Dixon, keeping it straight. Just a couple of hundreds back. Doesn't have the speed in Horseshoe, 100.1 kilometers an hour, so the gap will grow. She's already dropped behind Katie Julenda, 3rd best speed, 3rd on the splits. Oh, shame for Sarah Roderick. So many sliders reckon there should be an off-ramp after kink 1, where if it's all gone wrong, you can just peel off before kink 2 and just walk home, because you don't want to do the rest. 1600s up to 5300s back. Well, that will please the members of the Anna Fernstedt fan club. And a silver medalist last week in Winterberg. So did not want to be hanging out down in 23rd place after the first heat here. Well, this is where it all went wrong for Sarah Roderick. The sled just fighting her every inch of the way. Well, do you know what? Back to the Loudonella, pizza for dinner. It'll still feel like a beautiful place. Anna Fernstedt, the early race leader. Next up for Great Britain, Freya Tarbit. 24-year-old race winner this season in Pyeongchang. 28th here in her only appearance in St. Moritz last year, 5:42, so she made the cut. Again, early start draw number 4, not really helping. 17th fastest start, 5:37. She started 5:42 in this second heat. And the tiny margin over Anna Fernstedt evaporates about here. Oh, doesn't she? Clings on. ahead of the Czech slider. Out of Nash and Dixon, do they treat her well? Well enough. Little behind coming into Horseshoe, low line, and she didn't trust the line. It's a slider here who's very accomplished, but not intimate with Moritz. Best speed though, it's coming back. She's quicker than Katie Uhlaender through the forest. Ooh, little steer there into the Sachs curve. And a tap, so the speed goes away. I think she's going to be just behind at the line. She's not, she's just in front. So much for my predictions. 109.83. So Freya Tarbit comes across the line with the lead and will finish no worse than 20th. Last year, 28th. So a sizable improvement, and the potential for more as well. 109.83 would have left her in 4th place in the first heat. And that's the disadvantage of having the early start draw. You don't want that. Not here. Everywhere else, yes. Well, that could either be the cold in the shade or the bruising for Alessandra Fumagalli. 18th place here last year, tied for, I beg your pardon, in 19th after the first heat, not quite tied. 400s ahead of Freya. Oh, slips getting onto the sled. 400s ahead of Freya Tarbit, comes cleanly out of kink 1. Small mercies. So Fumagalli a 10th up on Freya Tarbit. Was just 400s at the line. 1100s up. Out of Snake into Sunny corner. Sun not round there yet, but it will be in the men's race, hence the shades you can see there. Wooden poles with sheets of Hessian. They do it old-fashioned here. 2500s back. Where has the speed gone? We didn't see catastrophic errors. This still, I mean, take away the graphics at the bottom, this still looks like a nice line. It still looks like a nice run. Okay, she's still fighting the sled a little. It's still skidding around underneath her. 3rd best speed at the bottom, but she plummets down the order. 4th place. Well, Freya Tarbit went 6900s better in her second run. Alessandra Fumagalli went 700s better. That time in the first heat would have left her just 3 spots higher up the order, and well, she was very fortunate to get away with that.
10 seconds.
And actually, again, the sled just skidding a little, just drifting sideways when she wants it to run true. And that was very much the case, I think, for her teammate Valentina Margallo. Valentina was just 1 spot and 300s ahead of Fumagalli. And that means she only has 700s in hand over Freya Tarbit. Now she will outstart the British slider. Starts right over on the right-hand side there by kink 1, 5:27. Well, she started 5:20 in the first heat. So losing a little bit of that speed, but with a 2/10 advantage over Tarbit into kink 1. And that's out to 3500s. That's the extra velocity from that much faster start. So the green numbers at the bottom for Margallo. She's in the lead by 4/10 of a second. Out of Sunny, taps going into Nash and Dixon though. Oh, and on the wrong side into Horseshoe. Low line, has to steer hard off it to get through Telephone and Shamrock, and this is where it all went away from her in the first heat. Telephone, Shamrock, Devil's Dyke was all very untidy. She's still got the lead, but only the 7th best speed. She'll be in the red as she emerges from the trees. Down the straight, only the 5th best speed. Valentina Margalio, does she lead at the line? No, she drops to third. Well, although Nash and Dixon, that crossover, which is often problematic, is quite benign, the exit of Dixon this year seems to be meandering everybody over to the sliders left as you come past Monty's Bolt. She didn't help herself there with a tap out of Sunny, but here out of Dixon, everybody's just getting meandered over to the left, whereas you want to be middle to the right-hand side as the slider sees it to get the line into Horseshoe. So she comes in flat into Horseshoe, has to really scramble off it. Not a happy bunny. Freya Tarbit leads after 8. Next up, I can't believe I'm saying this, Olympic champion Hannah Neiser again. Early start draw. Start draw number 5 for Hannah Neiser. World Cup best here, a 10th place finish and an 8th place finish. 10th last year, 8th in 2022. Olympic champion, raced here in the Junior Worlds as well in 2021, so she knows the track. And unfortunately, when you're an athlete, when you're a slider, the fact that it's beautiful views and lovely ambience and everything doesn't make you much quicker. I mean, it can do. It can certainly influence your headspace. Out of Dixon, again, meandering right over to the left into Horseshoe. Now, whether that's the line they're choosing this year or not, best speed of all was a 10th up over Freya Tarbit at the start. Now 1400s up. She's got the speed over the British slider, holding a 1400ths of a second advantage. Hannah Neiser could move up a few with this run. Not bad at all, 1:35.7, 84.4 miles an hour. And across the line, 1:09.73. So she takes the lead away from Hannah Neiser, and that is the 4th fastest run down the track. So if she'd done that as the 4th of our starters, she too would have had a track record. But she didn't. And she didn't. Nice height in Horseshoe, holds it late as well, and then you need to really drive it down into the middle of the ice between the walls in Telephone. Gets nicely on there. Here's the view looking back at Telephone, smoothly up onto the corner. Much better, yeah. Absolutely right. So next up, Li Yuqi of China, the 26-year-old in her 23rd World Cup start. Li started 10th fastest with a 5:32 in the first heat. She starts over in that right-hand groove as well, like Valentina Margalio. You have the option of either runner in either groove. And if you start with the left-hand runner in that right-hand groove, then you're as close to being onto Kink 1 as you can be when you get there. You're sort of coming down the fence line, if you like. Into Sunny, 1800s up on the Olympic champion. But the gap is starting to shrink. At Horseshoe, medium height, a 10th. Speed's not there. It was 101 from Hannah Neiser. 113 from Neiser. She's dropping back. Now there's 1900s between Hannah Neiser in the lead and Freya Tarbit in second, and Li Yuqi might fall into that, but no. Pinballs between Martineau and Portago. 2600s back in 3rd place. Well, when you improve on your second heat by 4/10 and you still drop 3 spots, then I think you might feel a little bit hard done by. 1500s up at the start, 2600s back at the bottom. Well, despite starting as far over to the right as she could manage, Just a little meander off kink 1.
10 seconds.
Nice height in horseshoe and controlled that well. Maybe a little too late down in the forest though. Pinballing around, robs you of speed. 10 down, 15 to go. Hannah Nizer leads Freya Tarbit and Liu Chi. Next up, Great Britain's Amelia Coltman, our first of 6 different winners this season in the 6 opening races. This is round 7 of 8 of the IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup, and another to start on the far right-hand side as the slider sees it to try and line up that first corner, kink 1, fastest start and the best velocity. 5:32. In fact, only the 4th fastest start so far, but the best velocity, better even than fast starter Sarah Roderick. So 1900s up, 2800s up, 3400s up. Hello, hello, Amelia Coltman. Down through Nash and Dixon. That very Katie Eulander heels apart sliding style she's got, so distinctive. 3200s up, best speed of all. She could add to her advantage here. 63 miles an hour. Now only the 3rd best speed, still 3/10 over Hannah Nizer, the current leader. Needs to hold it together, be super smooth. Just about a rub on the wall. 2nd best speed. She should have the lead at the line. Amelia Coltman comes across with a 1:09.65. She does lead. Applause from Matthias Gugelberger, who, with the Ducours family, builds the sleds and coaches along with Martin Ducours. And who better to get coaching advice from? Well, nice run from Amelia Coltman. Anna Nash and Dixon just gets herself settled nicely for horseshoe. Decent height, drives it off well into telephone. Nice stuff. So 1:09.65.
One more to go.
That is only 1200 slower than the fastest run in the first heat. Now then, here's our world champion, Hallie Clark. Clark, another youth Olympian from 2020 here, finished in 12th place in the Youth Olympic Games. 5:32. So the Youth Olympics, the first Olympiad to have sliding on a natural track since 1976, and the 3rd Winter Olympic Games held in St. Moritz after 28 and 48. Now, skeleton was on the bobsleigh track, not on the Cresta Run, where they raced in 28 and 48. Another interesting stat, as we watch Hallie Clark slipping out of the lead, is that the speed skating was done on the frozen lake in the middle of town. So the first time in umpteen years, speed skating on natural ice outdoors. 1200s back to 1400s back. She's not quite got the speed either. Hannah Nizer, 1800s behind the leader at the moment. And Hallie Clark is right about there, but I sense she might just be falling behind the the Olympic champion. She does. So 1:09.87 compared to 1:10.32. 2500s better. But not enough of an improvement from Hallie Clark.
Go start in 30 seconds.
Again, out of Sunny, passing Monty's bolts. That's one of the junior starts. That's where the parabobs often start from, where learners will start to learn in monobob. You can come here to race in St. Moritz without being a professional as well. So, little thumbs up from Hallie Clark, but Freya Tarbit remains our leader as we get to the 13th fastest slider in our field. This is Mystique Rowe. So, 12 down, 12 to come after Mystique. 5:27 getaway, second fastest in the competition, 500s quicker than Amelia Coltman, so she will add to her 500s advantage. 5:20, she adds a little bit more, adds another 1200s to her advantage from the first heat. 1700s up, nice smooth line from kink 1 to kink 2 and into wall, adds to that advantage, uses that momentum to her advantage. Out of snake 1 and 2, 2800s up at Sunny. Ooh, little scared from Sunny down to Nash. Clean out of Dixon. She drives it down low, gets the height. 2800s, gaining nothing, and the speed going away. Having to work a lot, not using the full parabola of Horseshoe. Coming in low means you have to steer it harder. The speed's going away. 10th best speed, but 2200s in hand. Little rub between Martineau and Portago. Should still have the lead and does. Well, came down just 600s quicker rather than Freya Tarbit in that run. 500s quicker in the first heat, so a total of 1100s faster. Again, coming over onto the left-hand side into Horseshoe means you spike up and then you have to drive it quite hard off. So the height was good, maybe not so much the entry, because it's from there that the speed starts to go away. So it's a little flop off the Exeter telephone. But she leads with 12 to go. Mystique Rowe, 8th last year, is our leader. Alessia Crippa, the best placed of our 3 Italian sliders.
Go!
And Alessia coming late in the heat, 26 start draw. No disadvantage here. 5:28, loses 800s that she could ill afford to lose to Mystique Rowe. She only had 200s in hand, so starting 800 slower will have less speed on board as well. So the gap grows to 1600. She's got to turn that around below Sunny. Before that, it's kind of hard to gain time. It's very easy to give it away. 2/10 back. Into Nash and Dixon. Comes in low, stays low in Horseshoe. Gap's growing, 2600s back, 10th best speed. Not where she wants to be. Her teammates Valentina Margalio in an 8th at the moment. Alessandra Fumigali in 10th place. But it's not going to be a top 10 run today for Alessia Crippa. Third on the splits, third at the line. 109.90, 3600s better than her first run. And she hardly came out late either, came out 26th in the field. 16th here in last year's World Cup. And with 11 to go, she will be no worse than 14th. So that is an improvement, but it's not the big improvements the Italians and coach Willi Schneider will have been hoping for in this pre-Olympic season. Low in Horseshoe. So Alessia Crippa slips away. Mystique Rowe still leads as we get to Corinna Leipold of Germany. 11th after the first of our 2 heats. First World Cup here. She's done 8 Europe Cup races. So she has got plenty of knowledge of the track. 3 top 10 results in her 5 races so far this season. Didn't race in Winterberg last weekend. 5:34, same getaway as in the first heat. But Mystique Rowe starting 1400s quicker, so the slender advantage that Corinna Leipold had has been overturned, and she's going to need every metre of ice to get that back.
Over
1700 metres start to finish this track. But the gap continues to yawn wide. She's going to drop behind Mystique Rowe, Amelia Coltman, and the tie for third, Alessia Crippa and Hannah Neiser. She had a good first heat. This is not quite good enough for her. She too comes across the line in third, but she's not tied with her teammates. She's 700s ahead of the Crippa-Neiser pair, 109.88. So 3300s, a full third of a second quicker. But she will be no worse than 13th place in her first World Cup outing here. Good height, good control, little toe steer, wasn't quite believing the line. And look, she's looking down, whereas you see the most experienced, like Katie Uhlaender, with their face just buried in the ice. So Corinna Leipold down and done, and it is still Mystique Rowe who leads as we get to our final 10. In 2023, Germany's Susanne Kreher was the world champion in St. Moritz. Last year, she finished 4th in the World Cup, just out of the medals, and she's 10th after the first heat here. 5:26, a fractional improvement in her getaway, but nearly 6/10 off the lead, where the top three are covered by 900s. There is a lot of ground to cover, and she already slips behind the fast-starting Mystique Rowe of the USA. She was barely ahead of Mystique Rowe, just 1500s in front in the first heat. Mystique Rowe putting together a really nice, tidy-looking run. Third fastest Susanne Kreher as they come through Telephone Shamrock, Devil's Dyke. Speed falling away, but the gap just 600ths of a second. Mystique Rowe was not the fastest down at the bottom. 9th fastest for Susanne Kreher. It's a long run to the line. Is she behind or in front? She's behind by 300ths of a second. 109.77, 110.13 in the first heat. 300ths behind Mystique Rowe. So she slips into second ahead of Amelia Coltman. And with 9 to go, Amelia will get at least a top 12 finish. She was 24th here last year, so a massive PB for the British slider. Susanne Kreher, though, the world champion 2 years ago. Couldn't match that here. A shame. Not every day can be a glory day. If they were, they wouldn't be glory days, would they? They'd just be an average day. That's today's little bit of Zen Buddhism for you. Xiaodan, please don't DM me, Zen Buddhists. Xiaodan, the 22-year-old from China, 9th here last year, 7th in the 2020 Youth Olympics. 5:39 getaway. She started 5:38 in the first heat. So only the 20th fastest start. At the moment, Mystique Rowe with a 5:20 has the fastest start. And Dan, who was 2/10 up at the start, before the start rather, now 2/10 behind. Super quiet on the ice. Lines look good. Just heard the chin of the helmet scratching on the ice as she came through Horseshoe. Good speed, 101.7. Fastest we've seen. Quicker even than Amelia Coltman. Quicker than Freya Tarbit here as well. Fastest of all. She's bringing it right back. She could be our new leader if she hits top speed at the bottom. Ooh, how close is this going to be? Within a few hundreds, is she? She is by 1/100 of a second. And that means that Mystique Rowe is guaranteed a top 10 finish here. But 8th last year, she will have wanted better. Xiaodan holding it together. Our winner in Beijing, race 3 of the season.
20 seconds.
Good height in horseshoe, nice line. Didn't believe, had to take a big toe steer in the middle.
Okay.
Didn't want to flop off telephone. Okay. Right, she leads with 8 to go. Next up is Jane Channel of Canada. Jane 17th here last year, but a World Cup best of 7th, a World Championship best of 6th on this track. She needs to pick up a spot, maybe 2, for an absolute personal best here. 5:25 getaway as ever, a strong starter. And the current leader, Xiaodan, starting 5:37. So Channel with a great opportunity here. And the gaps here are tiny as well. She's only 100th behind Kelly Curtis. She's only 900ths off 6, only a 10th out of 5th. A little nudge down there from Snake into Sunny, though. And the gap is shrinking once more. 2800ths, was 2300ths. What is it out of? Still 1900ths out of horseshoe. Oh, hard onto Devil's Dyke. That's going to take more speed out of the sled. There you go, only the 12th best speed now. Still a slender lead, but it is absolutely tiny. Oh, avoid the wall, don't meander. It's going away from her. She is not going to get a PB here. Across the line, Jane Channel in 6th position. 1:10.08. That's actually slower than her first heat by 300ths of a second. She will be disappointed with that. Better start, but just got ahead of her in the forest. Look at this late flop, gets spat across, takes a tap and a hit, and all of that robbing the speed from the sled. Next up, USA's Kelly Curtis. Toppermost of our 3 US sliders in the first heat. And returning to St. Moritz after a year away from the scene, giving birth to her first baby. And Kelly Curtis really coming on strong this year. Finished in 6th place here in the World Cup in 2022. 20th place in the World Championships in 2023. And that is the nature of everybody's relationship, I think, with St. Moritz. Some days you love it. Some days you quite like it quite a lot, but didn't really enjoy your sliding. Ooh, coming on the wrong side into horseshoe. Gaps down from 2/10ths to 1500ths, and the speed has gone away. And this is, I think, an issue with the US sleds. I'm not sure quite where they're going to go from this. 5th best speed, still in the green. Can she hang on in front of Xiaodan and have a chance maybe at a top 6 result? It's going to be very close again, could be to the 100th at the line. 600ths up, 109.76. So exactly the same run time in the second heat as Xiaodan, was 600ths in front of the Chinese slider in the first heat, is as a result 600ths in front after the second. Well, there you go. Whatever Kelly Curtis thinks about her start times, give her some ice. She can still drive a sled, no question at all. Good to see the family and friends here in St. Moritz.
Thanks for watching.
What a place to come. 6 to go, and Kelly Curtis of the USA is our leader. Next up, Jacqueline Pfeiffer, the 2017 world champion, 800s in front. Multiple race wins in her career, a dozen race wins. 32 medals for Jacka, but she has not been a winner on this track. She's had a silver medal and 2 bronzes in St. Moritz. She'll be doing really exceptionally well to get into the medals here today. 4 tenths away from the lead, 3100ths out of any medals. But she does look so good on a sled on ice. She's got what all the great sliders have, which is everything seems to be so easy and so slowed down for her. Her form is exceptional. 1100s back to 1400s back to 200s back, second best speed. Little dink onto Devil's Dyke. She's in the lead. 1:14.1, 70.9 miles an hour. Building speed fast. Little skid though onto the Gunter Sachs curve. 1:36.1, 84.7 miles an hour. Out of Portago on the wall, 1:09.64, a 0.2 of a second lead. The 4th fastest run we have seen, not in this heat, overall. That is a shout for a medal from Jacka Pfeiffer. Well, there are no gimmies in front of her. The remaining 5 sliders are all exceptionally good and all very capable of a medal. But that's a great shout from Jacka. Next up, Kimberly Boss. Capable of a medal? Well, she took gold last year. She's had 2 silvers on this track as well in the last 3 years. World Cup silver, World Championship silver, World Cup gold. 5:23. Again, just look how quiet the sled is as she comes down to wall. 4100s up, she's doubled her advantage over Jacka. She started 2100s faster. She was only 100th up from the first heat. That's out to 4700s. Well, the track might have been a little cold and frosty for her runner choice in the first heat. It looks like she's absolutely flying now. 3800s, but only the 10th best speed. Maybe the runner choice isn't of the best for these conditions. 7th best speed, 3 tenths up. If she's 3 tenths quicker than her first heat, it's still not a track record. 2nd best speed, 84.5 miles an hour. Out of the final corner, it is a track record, 1:09.45. The fastest run of the day, 1:09.45, exactly half a second quicker than her first heat.
Track record?
Track record.
20 seconds. Weil die Bahn immer wieder neu gebaut wird, ist immer wieder etwas anders. 10 seconds.
Nice stuff from Kimberly Boss. She leads with 5 to go. Kimberly Boss already a winner this season. This is Tabby Stoker of Great Britain. 4th place after the first heat, 100th ahead of Boss, and 3200s out of the medals. So she too needs a massive improvement. Like Kimberly, she came very early in the heat, third out of the start. Quick start, 5:16, it was 5:15 in the first heat. Nice and quiet. Tabby Sturker get into the medals. She's been close on a couple of occasions this season. Second after the first heat in Pyeongchang, the track melted away, she finished 18th. Fifth in race 2 in Pyeongchang, fourth in Beijing. But since the Asian leg, she's not been in the top half dozen. Second best speed, 1800s ahead of Kimberly Boss. This is probably not enough for a medal. But Tabby, who was 21st in the World Cup here 2 years ago, who finished 23rd in the World Championships, across the line, 109.26. That is a massive track record. That is 0.3 of a second quicker than anybody went in the first heat. Massive run from Tabby Sturker. Is that enough to snatch her first medal of the season? Great height in horseshoe. Look at the form. Watch the toes. Watch the head. Is she looking? No. Is she steering? No. She believes.
Hi, Mom. I love you so much. Hi, Grandma. Woo!
If nothing is certain, anything is possible. Well, victory is possible as well. The top three covered by 0.09 of a second. Kimberly Boss in third. Janine Flock, the leader after the first heat. Both winners already this season. 5:21, good start from Kim. And don't forget, only 600ths off the lead. She was 3,200ths ahead of Tabby Sturker from the first heat. Sturker outstarting her by a few hundreds, just bringing that lead down a little. Here the helmet scraping on the ice in sunny corner. The G-forces in bobsleigh and skeleton push you down into the ice. That's what allows you to hang inverted in some of these corners. 2,900ths up. Second best speed. For a medal, Kim Marmans. This will be her first medal in St. Moritz. The Belgian, second fastest, set a track record in the first heat. She's going to set a track record in the second heat as well. She does. 109.21, here we go. That's the bar, track record, or you don't get in. Kim Marmans leads from Tabby Sturker and Kimberly Boss, 2 to go. Alfie Willemsen, the former Belgian bobsledder, down there helping with the sleds. Kim just a little nudge away out of Sunny. Medium height, not the highest line there for the Belgian. But she has guaranteed. Yeah. Now then, here is the big story. Nicole Silveira of Brazil took a bronze medal in the crazy season opener in Pyeongchang. She lies in the silver medal position, just 500ths off the lead in the first heat. Oh my word. 12th here in last year's race, 14th in the World Championships the year before. Stay quiet, 5:30 the getaway. So she's losing out to Kim Marmans at the start by 900ths of a second. There was only 100th between them after the first of the two heats. They both slide Bromley sleds, built by Richard Bromley. They're both coached by Richard Bromley. 1300s back, but she stabilised that loss of time. Now then, she had a great horseshoe in the first heat. She's had a great horseshoe in the second. She's got great speed, fastest in the forest, 102.3. Nicole Silveira of Brazil is bringing it back, 114.4, 71.1 miles an hour, the fastest in the forest. Nice and clean out of Sachs, a little skid perhaps down to Martineau. Is she going to be in the lead at the line? It's going to be so close between the two of them, 900s back. But it is a second World Cup medal guaranteed for Nicole Silveira of Brazil. It's the first time that two of them have got a medal together, Nicole Silveira and Kim Meiermans. They both had medals this season. Kim the winner in Sigulda, and Nicole with bronze in Pyeongchang. But here it drifts away. Look at a long slide all the way down the straight. But in the medals again, second time in her career. Now then, we are not going to have a new winner today. Last sled is Janine Flock of Austria. She won last week in Winterberg. If she falls, Kim Meiermans of Brazil will take gold. She won in Altenburg. But Janine Flock has got a very low failure rate these days. And she is just tailor-made for this track. She's got all the knowledge, all the experience, great equipment, great coaching. She knows how to win on this track. 3 gold medals. Second most successful female skeleton slider here in St. Moritz. Shelley Rudman with 4 wins, one of them the World Championships, has the most golds. 1500s back. Now, can she build speed in the forest like she did in the first heat? 300s back, but where is the speed? Was 300s back, 200s back. Janine Flock is flying. This could be absolutely monumental. She needs a track record. She's in the lead with 200 meters to go. And Janine Flock wins in St. Moritz, 109.09. Started with a track record, finishes with a track record. Her 41st career medal. Janine Flock takes win number 4 in St. Moritz to tie Shelley Rudman as the all-time most successful. Win number 12. 2 in 2 weeks for Janine Flock. Well, congratulations being handed out by everybody there below Frizzoni's lodge at the finish area to Janine Flock. Boy, she made that work for her, the way she does so well. The more ice there is, the better chance she has, and she brought it back in the final 200 meters across the line to claim the gold medal. A 4th win in St. Moritz for Janine, and the first in 6 years, since 2018. Last year, 7th. But this year, it is win number 4 and her 2nd of the season. Kim Meiermans takes silver, Nicole Silveira in bronze ahead of Tabby Sturker, Kimberly Boss and Jackie Pfeiffer. Great race for Kelly Tirtis to 7th, Chow Dan to 8th. Mystique Rowe and Suzanne Crea rounding out the top 10. Amelia Coltman and Freya Tarbit both comfortably exceeding their personal bests on this track. But for every ladder, there is a snake, and a few slipping down the order. Well, Grace Defoe gets a personal best World Cup finish. Last year, 25th here. this year 24th. And it's all about personal improvement. So Janine Flock of Austria, our gold medal winner and the first two-time winner this season. So her season: silver in Pyeongchang race 1, bronze in Pyeongchang race 2, then silver in Sigulda 2 weeks ago, and gold in Winterberg last weekend. She adds a second gold to that. Kim Malmens, winner a week earlier in Sigulda, and Nicole Silveira, the bronze medalist in Pyeongchang race 1. Join her on the podium. That is your top 3. Janine heads the World Cup rankings from Hannah Neiser, with Kimberly Boss in 3rd, ahead of Jacka Pfeiffer, Amelia Coltman and Kim Malmens. And Nicole Silveira still firmly in the top 10 in the World Cup standings. And the Brazilian and the Belgian will both get to slide again. I'm sure Janine will as well in the teams race later today. That will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon. But before that, we have the men's skeleton competition coming up, which will start at midday local time. So men's skeleton will be next, midday CET, 11 Greenwich Mean Time, and that will be 0600 Eastern, and that is in 45 minutes from now. We'll see you then for the men's skeleton competition. Bye for now.